31 times.
And he hits a soft grounder to short. It will score a run. Belliard takes care of Baerga, but the legs of Lofton create the first run of the World Series. The Indians beat you in a lot of ways. You think about their Freddie McGriff to lead off. And he launches one to deep right field. She's gone to tie it. Woo. Justice then walked. And so did Devereaux. Bases loaded. Nobody out. Grounded to short, and it's juggled by Vizquel. He gets it out there, and they score the go-ahead run. But Freddie McGriff forgot the bases were loaded. A huge break for the Braves because, among other things, McGriff was confused and was holding up. Cox is going to argue the call, but McGriff got away with what would have been a classic base running mistake. He was waiting before running on a ground ball with the bases loaded. Cox arguing the call with Fleming at second base. Bobby saying, look at the replay, but they're not going to replay this one.
I don't think Vizquel ever had control of the ball. Bruce Fleming called Devereaux out at second base because he said he was in the act of throwing. He never had control of the ball. Never had. That's not even close. Not only is he not in the act of throwing, he didn't even have control of the ball as he's touching second base. Watch it slip out of his glove right there. You must have control when you step on the bag, and he didn't.
Braves get a bad break there.
Yep.
What would have happened if Vizquel had come up with the ball? McGriff hanging between third and home.
Well, you solve all those problems when you play the infield in. And we talked about playing the infield in before the play was hit. Mike Hargrove electing to play him in double play depth.
And I got to think right here, Bobby Cox is saying, Bruce, ask somebody else. Maybe somebody saw the fact that the ball was out.
Well, of course, I think Bruce in this situation, Jim, had the best shot. Here's Fred McGriff, confused on the play, breaking back toward third, and then by the time he comes home, he did score, obviously, but Fred didn't realize the bases were loaded.
The ball was off the bat when you saw him begin to break back toward third. Bases loaded, nobody out on a ground. It's 2-1 Atlanta. One out, runners at first and third. And Cox emphatically going through the signs.
And this situation has squeeze written all over it, with Belliard, the batter, against Taveras, and Greg Maddux on deck. You got to think that the squeeze would be in order sometime in the first 3 or 4 pitches.
I'd be anticipating it. And this is where you miss Eddie Murray. You did the double switch. He's been around enough to notify people of this.
He bunts, the squeeze is on, he lays it down, they'll get a run. Perfect. The out at first, and it's 3-1.
Now, if you're Greg Maddux and Bobby Cox and the Atlanta Braves, you will trade 2 outs for a run.
Well, you know, the only reason that you'd hold him on here is a possible bunt by Vizquel.
He goes, and it's grounded to the right side, and Lemke plugs up the hole, throws him out, and Lofton's going to go to third, and he's going to get away with it. It's a terrible strategic move, but he gets away with it.
Terrible.
That would have been about the most embarrassing ending to a World Series game ever had Lofton been thrown out at third. Because he means nothing at that point, but he gets away with it.
Absolutely lame after that swing.
1-2, popped, foul, giving chases Jones, and he makes the catch to give the Braves the win. for victory. Jones was so excited he knew he had a play. He almost overran it.
Well, the exuberance of a rookie. He doesn't play like it. He plays like a veteran, former shortstop, and he corrals it. And as you're right, Al, almost did overrun it.
That's why they call him Chipper.
Orel Hershiser suffers his first ever postseason loss, and all it took was Greg Maddux. Ted Turner watches his team make its magic number 3.
Who played only 18 games at first base for Cleveland. Once a terrific fielder as well as hitter. And a drive on the first pitch that may leave the yard. Chasing it into the corner is Klesko, and it's gone. Forget about the glove work. He can still hit.
Well, he had been 0 for 11 from the right side in postseason play, but he can always hammer that high fastball. Glavine makes a mistake, and Eddie Murray makes him pay for it. High fastball.
Stay at first, not taking a chance on getting thrown out at second by Lofton.
Huge trouble for Martinez. Behind on the count, 2-0. Jones swings and drives one to left. Albert Bell will make the catch. Grissom tags and scores. Lemke retreats to first. And it's 2-1.
That is one. Sore shoulder, bad shoulders, bad knees, bad ankles.
The 2-0 pitch is ripped to right. Ramirez a late break. It bounces in front of him. Lemke being waved home. And the game is tied.
Counted in to back him out of there, but not in that area.
Another 1-2 pitch. Sidearm again in the air to deep center. This at least gets a run home, maybe more. Lofton will watch it leave. That ball just kept on carrying, and Lopez continues to be a clutch performer in the postseason, snapping the 2-all tie, and the Braves lead it 4-2. You knew when it left the bat that he had snapped the tie with at least a sacrifice fly, but that ball just kept on going.
The Braves have not been a good hitting ball club, but they have been a club that produces runs, and they are a powerful hitting ball club that get a lot of clutch base hits, and Javier Lopez is one of the best.
Now Vizquel lines one to left, and stumbling is Devereaux, and the ball gets past him. A run will score. Vizquel on his way to second, and he'll stop there. Well, when Devereaux came in, they had a superior glove in left field, much superior to Klesko, but just like that, a misplay by Devereaux gives the Indians a run.
Well, the toughest little finger, he wants it inside. Let's see what he does here.
Now Thome is mindful of the scouting reports. He's got to be thinking about the forkball or split finger in this situation.
Fastball inside.
A throw in to first base, and they got him. Ramirez with the mistake of a youngster in a World Series game, straying off first.
That was a planned pickoff.
Again, the 3-2. And this one is popped up. It's Chipper Jones. And it's 2-0 Atlanta. Well, in their third World Series of this decade, this is the first time the Braves have won the first two games. In '91, they lost the first two in Minnesota, won 3 here, then dropped the 6th and 7th games back at the Metrodome. The next year against Toronto, they split the first 2 here, wound up losing in 6. Now they take a 2-0 lead to Cleveland.
Well, we talked about how dominating the Atlanta Braves pitching staff was, and they have showed it here in the first 2 games. And Walters again to close out Baerga, Joe, with a high fastball and getting him on a pop-up to end it.
Well, again, in the past, the bullpen has been a liability. Now it's their security blanket. Whenever he goes to the bullpen late, he knows he's going to get a good performance out of there. And I think that's the difference in this Braves ball club compared to the one in '91 and '92.
Glavine wins. Martinez loses. Dennis Martinez. Walters the save. Murray a homer in the losing cause for Cleveland, which briefly gave them a 2-0 lead. Javier Lopez, the home run that turned out to be the game winner. So tonight's Chevrolet player of the game is all together now.
Yeah, Javier Lopez.
Jones is second, 2 down. And McGriff lines one toward the right field corner. Ramirez won't get it. Jones is going to score. The Braves are on the board. McGriff will stop at first. With 2 down, a double by Jones and an RBI single from McGriff. And the Braves, leading the series 2-0, lead this game 1-0.
And he picks a right pitch to go on. I don't think he's progressed to that point yet.
Not going, and a drive toward the right field corner. Big trouble if it's fair, which it is. Lofton loses his helmet as he speeds around third. Vizquel wants a triple as Lofton scores, and Omar is in there.
Fastballs to Vizquel, and he set on one and drove it down the right field line.
Hit toward first. McGriff's going to take it, but Vizquel is going to score, and it's 2-1. Baerga with an RBI ground out. Pitch, line to left, coming on Polonia, can't get it, tried to short hop it, Lofton scores. Vizquel stops at second, another RBI for Baerga, 3-1 Cleveland. There. McGriff drives one to right. Ramirez turns and watches this one go out for McGriff's second home run of this World Series and his 4th of the postseason. That got out there in the blink of an eye.
And this was not a bad pitch by Nagy. It was down, and McGriff just went and got it and hit a line drive into the right field seats. This was
just a bit low. That one isn't. On the first pitch, as we go to the 7th, Ryan Klesko with an opposite field home run, and he's come to life tonight. Robbed of a hit his first time, singled his next, and then launches a rocket into the seats in left center on the first pitch of the 7th. So solo homers by McGriff and then Klesko have made this a 1-run game.
Well, he talked to us before the ball game about it.
Now Lofton dancing down the line at third as the pitch comes home to Baerga. Hit toward the hole. Mordecai from the outfield grass can't throw as he slips. And the speed of Lofton produces a run.
And as I said earlier, he loves the stage. He likes being the focus, and he is the catalyst of this ball club.
Polonia's 0 for 3. And Sorrento can't get it. It's by the diving first baseman. Grissom is waved home. RBI single for Polonia.
And we're back to what I said earlier in the ballgame: risk versus reward. Just getting Polonia out, what would have been the purpose? I still don't understand why it was so important.
The infield is back. On a ground ball, they'll concede the tying run. That or a fly ball could tie this game. A base hit could give them the lead. Baerga boots it. Does he recover in time? No, safe. The game tied, and runners at the corners. Still only 1 out.
The Braves in this similar type of situation against the Reds.
The 1-0 pitch is hammered into left center field. It gets down for a base hit. The Braves have taken the lead. In comes Chipper Jones. Justice stops at second.
And Devereaux does it again. And he was a great pickup by
Sandy Alomar Jr. First and third, one out. On the first pitch, he hits it between McGriff and the bag. The game is tied. Kirby, the pinch runner, to third. Stopped there by Newman. Alomar on his way in with a double, and he pumps his fist as he gets there. Well, you don't often pull Wohler's heat.
At times when that pitcher throws a ball in the dirt trying to, you know, throw off the outside corner and give you a free ride and make a bad pitch.
Eddie Murray has had a bad night, 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Didn't hit the ball hard the other 2 times he was retired. And in case you're wondering, not that it's really an option, his last sacrifice was just 16 years ago in 1979.
I guarantee you he's sitting fastball here and trying to go.
He lines it into center. Here comes the pinch runner, Espinosa. Grissom fires to the plate. The Indians are back in the World Series.
Team's number 4 starter working and pitching beautifully, but we're going to get down to the point where you've got Wohlers and Mesa, and they both pitched a lot last night as that's drilled to right field and out of here. So Klesko didn't like the call on the prior pitch, and then Hill sends one into the groove for him, and Klesko, who homered off Hill on the 9th of June in Atlanta when Ken was with the St. Louis Cardinals, duplicates the feat here. 1-0.
That was before tonight's game, the last regular season at bat.
Stay out of the middle of the plate. Change speeds. Use all your pitches.
And that's hit down the right field line and deep and into the corner, and it is gone.
Right. You know, what matchups do you want? I mean, Hill hasn't pitched in 10 days.
That's hit in the air to right center field, and racing over is Ramirez, and he can't make the play. Grissom around third, being waved in, and scores to give Atlanta the lead on a double by Polonia. And that's grounded into center field for a base hit. Polonia comes in to score, and so does Jones to make it 4-1. He threw the breaking pitch, and Justice, who's had a pretty cool postseason. They're still seeking that first championship since the franchise went to the South in the mid-60s. And that's hit down the left field line, and that will drive in another run as Bell will track it down in the corner. McGriff comes in to score. Lopez has a double, and that makes the score 5-1. A 4-run lead in the 9th inning with Lopez doubling for the second time in the game, and Lemke coming up.
I'll tell you, this is pretty impressive, Timmy. I'll tell you what, pretty good pitch inside part of the plate.
And it would have been 2-0.
Yep.
2-2 is hit in the air to deep left center field. And that one is in the bleachers. There have been no more magical endings in baseball. 5-2 Braves, 2 out of the 9th. And that's lined to right field and backing up and making the catch is Justice. Lost in smoking into right field. Wohler's the first guy out of the dugout. A star is born right there. Pedro Bourbon Jr. The pitching coach Leo Mazzoni heaves a sigh of relief, and the kid comes out of the pen pitching for the first time in 19 days with the crowd in a frenzy, and he stills them in Cleveland.
I think Jim's point about Bobby Cox having the courage to bring Bourbon in that situation, fairly salient thinking right now.
I mean, Bobby, you know, again, you've been around the game this long, Timmy. You see with your own eyes. I still remember walking down talking about Earl Weaver saying the guy threw 135 pitches. He told me, he said, listen, I can see whether the guy's got good stuff or not. That's what Cox did tonight.
Tonight's Chevrolet player of the game with the final score, Braves 5, Indians.
Good hitting, you have to adjust. He stood well off the plate early in this World Series, especially against Maddox. He has moved up. He's a little bit closer.
And he hits it in the air down the right field line and into the corner. And just like last night, gone. Same spot. Steps in between, and now both dugouts will empty.
Charlie O'Brien arguing with Eddie Murray. They used to be teammates with the Mets, but how ridiculous is that? I mean, that's part of pitching. You come up and in on guys, not necessarily because they hit a home run. But you remember, in the American League, that stuff doesn't happen. In the National League, it's more part of an everyday day at the office. As Hershiser and Maddox are very calm in that whole thing.
Two choir boys in the middle of a riot.
An overreaction by Eddie Murray, in my judgment.
Well, I'll tell you what, it does tell you something about Maddox and his competitiveness. Bell hits the home run. Murray had a home run swing on the first pitch. They're getting a little bit too comfortable, and this is a guy that when he pitched for the Cubs, he said, what is the knockdown sign? He looks like a guy that wants to sell you insurance, but he means business, and this is part of pitching.
Sometimes you may have to buy that insurance from him.
I tell you, it might be medical insurance too. That's just part of pitching. That's the way the game is played, and Eddie Murray's been around long enough to know that. He's 2 for 14 in the World Series.
And a relief outing beyond belief in the League Championship Series. The key performance there. Hit in the air to right field and deep and gone. Luis Polonia, who hit 1 home run all season long. Homers here in the 4th inning to make it 2-1.
Well, you know, all the second guessers will say, how do you speed up a guy's bat by throwing him a hanging curveball? Well, your intentions, if you're Orel Hershiser,
that's line and caught, and what a play by Maddox. That's as good as it gets. And it's lined back through the middle to give the Indians the lead. Bell goes to third, 3-2. The pitch was there, and Thome stroked it right back through the middle. And that one's hit into right field to make it 4-2 by Ramirez. Deep center field where it's 405 and gone. To right field and deep, and it is gone. One strike away. Klesko hits one out.
On the heels of us just saying that Mesa had not given up a home run to a left-handed batter all year long. Brother.
well, we saw.
To Georgia.
Second game of, the third game of the series, but this is the real Tom Glavine today.
One pitch. A long drive to right. Ramirez turns to the track. She's gone. Day of justice. All is forgiven in Atlanta.
Bob, it's okay to talk the talk if you can walk the walk.
In this World Series. Maybe. Baerga is 0 for 3. Left center field. Grissom on the run. The team of the 90s has its world championship. Look at Nagy. Still filling out the pitching chart. But now there is no tomorrow. Over the full season, there's little doubt the Cleveland Indians were the best team in baseball in 1995. But for a week in October, the edge belonged to the Atlanta Braves. They have been baseball's best team over the last 5 years. And finally, the one missing piece is in place. What a golden season it was for the people in that dugout and in the visiting clubhouse tonight in Atlanta. But all the joy for now is on the home side. Still, there's no overlooking what the Cleveland Indians did, not just in terms of performance, but in the spirit of that whole city. They're part of the renaissance of the city of Cleveland. With their new ballpark, with their contending team, with the way that town feels about them, and with the pieces in place, every reason to expect they've got a good chance to be back. But tonight belongs to the Atlanta Braves.
Well, it's sad when you look at players on a losing club. It always boils down to one game. I mean, the final game. And on the loser's side, as you look at Taveras, who did such a great job for the Indians this year, it's down to this game. Sitting alongside Carlos Baerga. But as Joe well knows, and fans, you can take into consideration what they've done here tonight and how they've responded. This win belongs to the players for the immediate moment, Joe, in the clubhouse.
That's exactly right. I think that says it all right there, finally.
Finally.
And I think that's what the Cleveland Indians, the way they have to look at this. Very rarely does a team go out and win in their first attempt in the World Series. Let's face it, the Braves, this is their third time in before they've been able to win. And I think the Cleveland Indians, it may take them another time at least before they feel the joy of victory in the World Series.
And David Justice, who earlier had chided the fans here for not being enthusiastic and passionate enough, how ironic that he would deliver the home run in the 6th inning, the only run of the game, and now he and his teammates are awash in this celebration, which sounds pretty loud to me. They were ready tonight. 52,000 plus in Atlanta, and millions more all around the Southeast, and in fact all around the country, because the Braves have many fans in far-flung places because they're on a superstation. They, like the Cubs, have a national following. Well, here's the story. We have plenty of time to visit both locker rooms, and we'll do that as we return to the 1995 World Series after this from your local stations.